So that's pretty fun. I think that looks good. And let's look back at our cheat sheet and see what else we have going on. So now we have the crazy movement of the light. So let's look at that guy. Let's go to our commercial. So it kind of moves over this like beginning record player area. Oops. And then moves off again. Alright, so with the light, let's hit R and then also P because we know we have to move the position at the end there. So it's sort of highlighted over the record player base, and it needs to move a lot, and I don't think it comes in until a little ways in, so we don't even have to have that layer right there immediately. So let's just move that over. Let's look at our commercial again, see when it comes in. So almost when the cracker is on the base, it sort of slides in and then circles around it, and then at the end it slides off. So let's just start recreating that. So we don't even need the light until right about probably here. So I'm at like 15 frames. So I'm just gonna close that off. Again, you can move it this way or else by holding the option bracket if you're selected on it. And so let's change the rotation because we know that it's not here yet. And if we zoom out, we can see that we've got the anchor point at this very top part. So it's moving realistically like how light would. So I'm going to zoom back in. And I'm just going to move forward. Well, I think I'll just move it off the screen so we don't even see it. And I'm going to hit the rotation keyframe so we've got that off screen. And I think it moves on like right about here, so I'm going to move its rotation up. And it sort of circles around it, so maybe I'll put it here, move like 5 keyframes again, circle sort of this way. Maybe move another 10 keyframes, and then let's see, how does it slide off? So it just goes off that top area. Alright, so let's try to just move it off this top part here. So let's just sort of scrub through that, and it kind of circles around it. Which maybe it needs like another keyframe here so it sort of focuses on it a little bit more. Alright, so that looks pretty good. And it moves off. And then I think it waits a little bit, maybe like 5 frames, or maybe even 10. And then we're going to put another keyframe down for the rotation so that it stays the same, so it's just sitting up there for those 10 frames. And then I'll move ahead maybe 5, and then it sweeps down. And then we know that it moves off, so I'm going to move like 10 keyframes, move it off the top part again, and this is where we know we need to mess with the position of it, is those last couple of frames. So I'm going to move to the second to last keyframe, put down the position keyframe, move to the end, and we're going to move it sort of off screen this way, and we'll see how that looks. Maybe even more. So it comes down and moves off. Alright, so let's, think for all of these keyframes, we're just going to easy ease all of them, just because that's probably the simplest way. And let's RAM preview that and see how it looks. So it's pretty fast. Let's look at our cheat sheet again, and it looks like all of our movement, this sort of rotation is the last type of thing going on, so maybe we keyframed too quickly here, so I'm just going to highlight all of these and hold Option and just drag everything until it extends past this last keyframe just a little bit on the yellow Ritz. So let's preview that now. It's going to take it a second. So that looks better. It's got, kind of circles around that main record player, moves off, and then it comes back on and moves off again. So that looks pretty good. And that is about it for our record player, except we don't have our text slide on. So let's look at that. Ooh. So we have text slide on from an area right about here. So let's grab our text tool, and I'm just going to make sure all of these settings are right. If you don't have this character panel, you can go to Window, Character, and make sure that that is on. And so now we can see all of our text options, and some of your options might be hidden, so you can drag this up or down if you need to. And I'm just going to use Arial Rounded MP Bold because I think all of these computers should have it. And then regular, I want to make sure that my text color is white. And I've got text size 48 with a kerning of 27. So I'm just going to click, and then you can extend your little text layer so that it goes across the whole time. And if you double click on that, then you can get your little cursor back. And it says, we know what it's like. And so let's just make sure we know what it's like. Okay, good. So this isn't the correct positioning for it, so I'm going to move it over. And it looks like the kerning is maybe too much, so I'm going to just set that to 0. Alright, and then that's better. Let me look back at the real commercial. So it extends a little bit past the record player, which looks right about here. So try to center that up. And we know that it slides out, so let's see right about when does it do that. So right as the hand moved onto the cracker, then it starts sliding out. So here's our hand movement, like right about here, so I'm just going to cut my text layer to that point. Excuse me. And I'm going to hit P on the keyboard for position. And I'm going to just move ahead maybe 10 frames, and we know that we want it to be right there, so I'm going to move back 10 frames and move it off screen. And so we know that it sort of came from a different area. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, dang it. Okay. So we know that it's sliding from this type of a point. It's not coming from the edge over here. So we're going to need to mask that off. And if we were to put a mask over this now, just using the rectangle tool, then if we just preview this, the mask moves with the text, which is not what we want. So I'm going to pre-compose this. So I've selected on my We Know What It's Like text layer, and I'm going to go to Layer, Pre-compose at the very bottom, and we can just call it Text Slide, which I think there's a typo in the cheat sheet. It says like text slide, dang it. Anyway, so I've got this comp here, and I've got the same type of movement of my text sliding out, but now if we put a mask on it, then I'm going to use my rectangle tool. I'm selected on my comp here, and I'll just put a mask around the area where I think it should show up. And so now, when this text slides on, it's coming from that area, which I'm going to change the color on this to maybe just sandstone so we know it's a comp. So now the mask isn't moving with the text. So let's preview all of this and see if we've got good stuff going on. Yay! Alright, that looks good, so let's save it. And then we can go ahead and move on to the next comp in a second here.